Hello, my name's Ben Aston, Head of PE at J&C Academy. I'm recently joined the company and I thought it would be interesting to get under the skin of our company director, Jazz Rose, so we can understand what motivated him to start the company and where J&C Academy is going in the future. Hi Jazz.
Hi Ben, how you doing?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Awesome.
J&C Academy is 12 years old in January 2016. What was life like in 2004?
Wow, so 2004 was pretty much me riding about on a bicycle with a bag of balls on my back. Didn't have a driving license at the time. A little bit too young to have a driving license, and coaching children and encouraging them to participate in sports, but not only to participate in sports but also to develop those transferable skills that you learn from sport. So I was really inspired by the ability to teach children a well-rounded education through sports, so developing lifelong learning skills and those fundamental skills for life that you can pick up and learn through sports. And I was really encouraged to do that, and I was really inspired by the children who really enjoyed the lessons that I was delivering.
And what made you decide that this was something that you wanted to grow into a business rather than just something you were doing as a 17-year-old?
I mean, that's interesting because I don't think I decided to do it. I think it was a combination of passion, demand, and the enthusiasm. I picked up a lot of skills from sports myself, and I also picked up a lot of skills from academics. So I was relatively focused in school, and I was relatively focused on sport as well. And I think the ability to merge those two fundamental things together to develop a well-rounded human being, because some of the things that I learned from sports, for example, was that dedication, that level of resilience, that ability to say to yourself, whatever the challenge, I can overcome it. And I think that really embedded within my culture through sport, and I was able to transfer that into my academic studies. So when something was difficult in maths, for example, I was able to refocus and say, okay, this is the strategic decision that I'm going to make in order to get better at it, and through that I was able to get good results. So I wanted to make sure that when we deliver lessons, and when I delivered lessons initially, that we were developing those transferable skills.
And what was the kind of main difference between the first 2 years and the last 2 years within the company?
Wow, I think the main difference between the first 2 years and the last 2 years is the progress. So in the initial 2 years we were developing, we were slowly getting more and more schools on board with the company, and slowly getting more teachers on board. I think over the last 2 years now, the SLT has grown, so it's gone away from me just being the person on the other end of the phone and the only person that schools can contact, to now having a larger team. Obviously you've got yourself, Pascal, Sam, Molly, Katrina, all here in a much larger office, and able to communicate with schools about the value, and able to communicate with teachers about the value that we can bring to their school and to their pupils.
And I guess my next question is, though, where do you see the company going in the next 2 years?
In the next 2 years, I think we're just going to continue to make progress, and that's one of our core values. So our values are passion, positivity, productivity, performance, and progress, and that reflects throughout the company. So we look at every teacher that we bring into the organisation has to reflect those values, and then they take those values and inspire the children to instill those values. So they inspire them with passion, positivity, help them to be more productive about their time and the way that they use their time effectively, and then that develops the performance of the pupils, and then that helps the pupils to make progress, and then the schools make progress, and it's all about that reciprocal process for me, I think.
And your role's changed over the last sort of 12 years. What's the most rewarding part of being Director of Education for you?
Well, I think it's difficult to say because there's so many rewarding factors of the role, but I think the main thing for me is the ability to, and the knowledge that what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis is inspiring children and helping them to develop into well-rounded human beings and productive members of society. I think that's really important, is that factor of going into Tesco's and seeing a child perhaps in a uniform of a school that we work for, knowing that I have an impact on your child's education, and I'm in some way helping that child to be a responsible and productive human being. I think that is the most valuable part for me.
And why should a school then partner with J&C Academy? What's the benefits to the schools that we work with?
Well, we provide a cost-effective solution to PPA cover. So there's no on-cost for the school. They pay for what is delivered, so there's no on-cost. There's no national insurance contributions, no holiday pay, no sick pay. We also provide a hassle-free cover as well, so if the teacher's ill or incapacitated, which is unusual, but these things do happen, then obviously we assign a new practitioner of the same level or higher in order to go and work with that school. So it becomes a real simple and streamlined process for the school. Simple things like lesson plans that we've got here, we send them to the school, we make sure the teachers got them so they don't need to develop a whole new scheme of work. It's really just a hassle-free and cost-effective solution for schools. And in addition to that, we have expert practitioners. So we have people who are PE professionals, we have people who are music professionals, we have people who are MFL professionals, which you don't always get, and it's quite difficult to get primary teachers who have that well-rounded knowledge. It's a little bit like having someone that's good at everything, and then it's about having a specialist. And when you have a specialist, they're able to dig deeper and they're able to take the children further in terms of challenge, especially when you've got talented pupils. For example, obviously a skilled practitioner is able to take those children further and develop those technical and tactical skills further than someone who perhaps doesn't have those specific skills.
So you talked about expert practitioners. Why or what attracts those expert practitioners to come and work for J&C Academy?
I think, well, I think it was just yesterday, we looked at the average difference between the grade point, the national teacher's salary and our own grade point system for salaries, and when I looked at it, we were about 17% higher, which in some ways, it can change, but I think the main thing for us is that the passion behind what we do. So teachers, when they come on board with us, they get the lesson plans, they get the resources, they get the uniforms, they get everything they need to really just focus on the delivery. And that's why, people like Sarah Saputo, who's assistant head of PE, she left her role as a secondary teacher a few years ago to come on board with us because she really wanted to focus on just delivering high quality PE, wanted to focus on the children. And working with an organisation like J&C Academy allows a specialist teacher like her to do that, and it's not paperwork heavy. Yes, there is paperwork involved because assessment and reporting are all part of the process, and again, that's what helps the schools. So schools have concerns about assessment and reporting, making sure that fits in with their vision and how they do things. We're very aligned to that when we're going to work with a school, but it's not the demands on the teacher to do paperwork are not as heavy as if they were employed in-house within a school, and we have a very quick turnaround in terms of making sure that if teachers want to work full-time, then they're able to. So typically schools would offer a teacher 2 or 3 days a week, and then because we work with so many schools, we're able to then transfer that into a 5-day-a-week role by working 3 days in one school and 2 days in another, and so on. And it becomes really a smooth and streamlined process for teachers where they can essentially just focus on quality of delivery.
And there are lots of other providers in the marketplace. And what makes J&C Academy different?
J&C are very unique because, number one, we're the only London-based multi-service provider as far as I'm aware. So providing the trifecta of subjects, which is PE, music and MFL. And the main thing for us is that we focus on long-term child development. So that's our background. It's a very child-centered approach to making sure that children are at the heart and at the essence of every single decision that we make. So when you come in and ask me a question about what should we do about this situation, or when any strategic decision needs to be made, I say, okay, what are our values? What is important to us? And the most important thing to us is the progress of the children, and that is what leads our decision-making processes, and that's what leads us to think about the way we think, and that enables it to be a really simple but effective process, both for decision-making, so we don't spend hours on making decisions, but also it reflects well on the children, and we're able to help them succeed, essentially, because that's what we're all about. We're about helping children to succeed and make fundamental progress.
And
did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think you did, yeah.
Can you remember what was the question again?
Question was, what makes J&C different? JNC Academy different?
Yeah, so the values, the child-centered approach.
Yeah.
It's not so much, yes, it is a business, but it's more of a social business, if that makes sense, and it's the children at the heart of everything that we do. It's never the profit. Everything corroborates back to our values first, and then everything else comes second after that. Yeah.
And having created this successful business over the last 12 years that impacts on 30,000 pupils a week across schools in London, you know, you've created this.
Well, we're also in the southeast now as well.
Yeah,
I've been in the southeast since 2009. Yeah.
You know, you've created this. What drives you to keep going? Why not just sit back and relax and be happy with what you've got? What motivates you to keep going day in, day out?
Well, it's number one of our values, so it's passion. So I've got a passion for what I do. I really love the fact that I'm able to inspire thousands of children, and as long as I can add value to schools, and I can add value to the team, I can add value to the SLT here, then that's going to be my focus. So I really love getting up in the morning and coming in here at 6 o'clock and drilling down and focusing, because I know at the end of the day, even if I'm doing something that isn't particularly exciting in the process, but I know the outcome is that we inspire those children. So something that's quite laborious and technical in the process of doing it, I know that this is helping to inspire thousands of children, and this is what's going to take us to the next level. This is what's going to enable us to educate and inspire more children through the effective process that we've created. So that's what drives me, is the children.
And what's been your highlight of the last 12 years? If you can pick out one thing, if you had to pick out one thing, what would it be?
I think it was probably our award ceremony last year. If I had to pick out one thing, obviously from an overarching perspective, you look at the development and the progress that we've been able to make, and the amount of children that we've been able to educate. Not only the amount, the effect that we've been able to have on children. So I've been in teaching industry for 14, 15 years altogether, and to see the children that I used to teach when they were 12, 13, who are now adults, so to speak, and you know, they're coming up to me and I'm seeing them on the bus or whatever it might be, and they're saying, you know, well, I'm practicing to be a lawyer, and I'm, you know, practicing to be a doctor, or I'm, you know, playing professional sport at this place, and so on and so forth. And that is like, whoa, for me. That's brilliant. That's amazing, because whatever and they say to me, you know, you've really helped me, or your company has really helped me to grow as a person and as a human being, to become productive in society. And that's the most overarching valuable thing for us. I think the most sort of exciting thing most recently was probably our award ceremony last year. We did our first one. There was about 60 to 70 people there, and we gave out awards for most inspiring music teacher, most inspiring PE teacher, most inspiring MFL teacher, best new teacher, all of these sorts of things, and to present to both our clients and to the teachers, and to deliver that speech that I delivered, which I thought stunned quite a lot of people, because a lot of people didn't know my background and my history and how the company had developed. They had an idea, but to present it to them live, face to face, I think that was really powerful and exciting.
And I guess the next question would be to fast forward another 12 years to 2028, and how does the educational landscape look to you, or how do you think it's going to look then? And then I guess secondary to that, how does J&C Academy fit into that?
Well, I met with one of our flagship schools a few weeks ago. I met with the executive head over there, and I did an interview with her, which you can find on my blog, which I'll post the link below as well. And she said that autonomy is going to be really important for schools, and that's what's developing it's developing at the moment, and it's going to continue to develop over the coming years. I also had a meeting with another head teacher who said, you were with me actually yesterday, over at a school in Hertfordshire, and they said that over the next 12 years schools are going to become a lot more independent and autonomous, and I think that's going to be a positive thing for us as well, because then schools have a more independent and decisive ability to make decisions about what sort of providers they want to use and how they want to run their specialist services. And you know, schools like our flagship schools in East London, Newport, they really value our service, because we're able to provide that specialism, and that's what the executive head relayed back to me. And I think that's going to continue, especially with schools being more autonomous now and going to be more autonomous in the future. Schools are going to be more decisive about wanting and really desiring high quality creative education. So PE, music, MFL, they're going to be really in demand of that. And I think that we're able to, as I say, deliver a really cost-effective solution to that for schools.
And that's the future. And what's the next step on that journey for J&C Academy to get to that point?
I think the next step for us is about strategic planning. So from an SLT perspective, it's looking at market mapping, looking at where we want to be, what schools where are we most likely to partner with, and why they value our service, and how we can replicate that with more schools, and really help schools to make good progress. Because I think that's the thing with our flagship schools, and a lot of schools that we work with, almost all the schools that we work with, is that essentially we help the schools to make progress. So it's not just us making progress as an organisation, but it's got to be a reciprocal process where the schools make progress and the children make progress as a result of what we do. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Thank you.
So I've got a question for you. What is it that attracted you to come and become head of PE over here at JNC Academy? Obviously coming from a slightly different background in that you were assistant head of a free school, and what was it that inspired you to come to an organisation like ourselves?
I think it was, again, coming back to the values of the company.
Mm-hmm.
And education in many circles is driven by the data and the results that pupils have to perform at, whether it's secondary or primary. And getting back to the organic reason why every single person who works in the education sector got into that sector in the first place, which is all about, you know, the children and the children making progress and making those children become the best people that they can be. And when I saw the advert for this role, it was about reading into the company and finding out what were the key drivers for the company. And then obviously speaking with yourself, and again getting back to what is the key fundamentals of education, which is making pupils become the best that they can be. And I felt that lay at the heart of what we do here at J&C Academy. And that was what got the buy-in really from me.
Awesome. And how are you finding your role at the moment?
Really exciting. I'm really enjoying it. It's coming at it from a different angle than I'm used to. But I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm getting more, developing my own self, so I'm learning new things as well. You know, education never stops. So I'm learning new skills about things like marketing and data analysis and those type of skills that enable me to effectively map and deliver high quality PE provision and multi-service provision as well to lots of schools.
And what is it that you sort of enjoy most about working at JNC?
I think the family feel that we get within the company, so not only between the senior team, because we're obviously based together, but also between all the staff. So on our professional development days, we have all the staff, or most of the staff, from different subject areas that come together and collaborate on things, can share best practice across the multi-service is that we offer, and then actually getting in to work with my team, the PE team, getting to know them better, getting to know what motivates them, helping them develop, partnering them up with other people within the company so they can share best practice. It's that type of family atmosphere that's created at JNC Academy that's really fun and rewarding.
And that's the thing I forgot to mention in the question that you asked me about why teachers should join us as well, is that we do all the professional development. So we do 6 professional development days a year, and that really helps to professionally develop people, not only on the aspect of teaching, but from the wider aspect of social and emotional development as well, which I think is really important. And yeah, and the celebrations that we do as well. So we do regular events, probably once every half term, if not every term, where we get together and we have social events and that sort of thing. And I think that helps with the family aspect and family feel. And it's about building relationships, isn't it? And about connecting people.
And I think the relationships as well between the company and the clients are one that are really, really powerful, because it is about partnership, and schools, when they want to work and partner with J&C Academy, they believe in that partnership, and they invest heavily in that partnership.
Yeah.
And we impress on our staff all the time about this adding value concept. How do they fit within that school? How can they do a little bit more to make sure that they fully embed? And actually, it's really nice for the pupils to see members of JNC staff doing things like a World Language Day, or doing things like a singing assembly, or doing things like a sports day.
Yeah.
So having an impact on the wider aspect of the school is really, really key, and it's something that as a company we're passionate about, and getting people to add value within the schools that they work in is really, really important.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason that we've had, I suppose, a 98% client satisfaction rate last year, which is really difficult to achieve. But I don't think it's difficult. A lot of people say, wow, 98% client satisfaction, did you sort of pluck the data out of the air, sort of thing? And we didn't. We really drilled down on what clients were happy with our service, and I think the reason for that is because the children come first at JNC, and the education aspect comes first, and that's the most important thing for us. So I think we're really good at partnering with schools, and on the rare occasion that there is an issue, we're able to be flexible. Yes, we have our policies and procedures, yes, we have our way of doing things, but we're always able to be flexible and amenable to schools' requests in order to make sure that whatever we decide as an organisation reflects well upon their school and works well for their pupils and for what their school vision is. So I think that's really powerful and impactful, and I think that's the reason that, as I say, 98% client satisfaction rate. And that's the reason also we've got a 96% teacher retention rate as well, where teachers stay with us for an average of 4 to 5 years. We've had many teachers that have been in the company for over 8-9 years. You've got the Peter Nages, you've got the Chris Kellys who've been there since 2000. Chris since 2004, Peter since 2006, 2007, and it's just a replicable model. Everyone's been here for 4 or 5 years, and we've got so many teachers that have been with us for so many years, and I think it's because they really value the ethos of the organisation, and it's really focused on the children, developing the learning aspect, and I think teachers really appreciate that.
Jazz, it's been great talking to you this morning.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.
I hope you've enjoyed delving a little bit deeper into the mind and motivations of Jazz Rose, Company Director at JNC Academy.
And I hope you've enjoyed watching the video. Click the links below, which has our website if you want to find out more information about what we do and how we do it, and feel free to get in touch on our email address or our telephone number, which is also posted below. Thanks for watching.